Today on Locked On Rockies, reacting to the big news in the NL West, Chris Bryant on the bounce back, and let's get an update on one of the arms that the Rockies acquired to fill a spot in that rotation.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 19th day of March in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day is talk Rockies baseball, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services or on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, also free, where you can get all of the action video style, as well as be part of the show and let us know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies by firing off your Rockies hot takes here. And this one's from Travis Rogers in response to yesterday's episode on Bud Black. I don't think the manager is really an issue here. First, in any sport, you should never fire your manager or coach unless you have a clear replacement that fits or would be better for your team. I don't know who that would be for us. There isn't much out there, but making a change just to have a change is not how you fix the culture of a team. Second, Bud Black was the reason we had the best pitching staff we've ever had when he first got here. I know that's not the case right now, but we were on the verge of changing the culture here until the front office let DJ walk without a contract offer and a certain star player forced their way out. I think it's been pretty clear since then Bud is doing what he can with what the front office gives him, and with the injuries, it's not much. I'm all for making a change if there's a good manager that wants to be here, but I can't think of anyone that would clearly be better and actually wants to be here. Honestly, we probably won't be able to do much until we get out from under this horrible KB contract. I think what we really need is a real GM, or at least someone who won't just throw money at injury-prone, aging vets like Desmond, Murphy, and KB. So keep Bud, but keep him on 1 and 2 year short deals so we can keep an ear to ground for when a better skipper becomes available. Thank you, Travis. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all my everydayers as well. I think there's a lot of good points there. Because it is interesting. What truly is the role of the manager in the modern game of baseball? How much of a game changer is Bud Black truly? Some of his decisions are a little meh, but one of your points with him being creating the best pitching staff, he still has those pitchers. I know they're injured, but he also hasn't reacted. He hasn't recovered. He hasn't rebuilt. He hasn't retooled. Bud Black, I would say, in the second half of his Rockies career, has struggled as a pitcher-focused manager. He has not been able to crack the Coors Field code. He has not been able to get the most out of pitchers. He's survived, basically, when it comes to the starting rotation the past couple of years. So thank you so much again. Like I said, if you chime in, if you let us know what's on your mind, we read comments from time to time here, and we love getting the fan perspective and what's on your mind when it comes to Rockies fans. Lots to talk about today. We're going to dive into it all here in just a moment, but this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, so let's start with the NOS news. Let's start with the reaction. And I'm not necessarily like that surprised that Blake Snell is now a member of the Giants. And I'm not going to I'm not as much in the, I don't know as much about the Boris stuff and that type of thing. So it's not really going to be like a Boris focused thing. It's just more so, I asked this question on X yesterday. Could you ever imagine the Rockies having the offseason that the Dodgers or the Giants had? And then even that, can you imagine the Rockies coming even close to that? Is the super bullpen year the really the only year that we can have and point to and say that this is a moment where the Rockies decided to go all in? And it's a reminder, as much as we've been focusing on the positives, we're staying at, we're staying upbeat. We're looking at some stuff that's a positive, and we're being realistic about the Rockies. This shadow will forever loom. I mean, the Rockies have to be sitting there as an organization, and maybe the Diamondbacks too. But I don't know. The Diamondbacks, I don't know. But the Rockies have to be sitting there and saying, what is going to change? What is it going to take for this to change? I mean, let me just pull this up as I go through this here. But this is a moment where the Rockies have to do more reflection and say, how are we going to compete with, how do you compete with this going forward? What is the creative ways that you're going to compete with this? And when do you embrace buying in? When do you embrace when is the time to get aggressive in free agency? Is it next year? I still think that the Rockies taking a step back and seeing what they have this year and doing mostly low-level deals with not a ton of commitment is still the right move. But it doesn't negate the fact that every offseason we just have to ask, well, what are the Giants going to do? What are the Dodgers going to do? And then they're actually going to do something, because a lot of people aren't talking about the Giants this year right now. And so if this is from Ben Kaspick here, host of Locked On Giants. They signed Lee, Snell, Chapman, Hicks, Soler, Murphy, traded for Robbie Ray, and traded away Haniger, DeSclafani, and Stripling. I mean, that's busy. That is not only, that's not cutting the fat, but that's bringing in players and bringing in real difference makers that's going to change the outlook of things. And the Giants had a core and older guys and all sorts of stuff too. So they went through some of the stuff. But the Giants also won 100 games not that long ago. The Giants are up and down sometimes, but the Giants are a team that's not going to be afraid to go out and get some names. So I'm just curious here, if this season is a success for the Rockies, could they ever open up like this? I mean, they're not going to touch the Dodgers ever. But what about the Giants? What about doing that much? I mean, the Giants moved on from 3 veteran players that were underperforming, and they brought in a whole new crop of guys, including some of the most exciting some of the most exciting guys on the free agency market. It's important to think about this stuff, because eventually the Rockies, if they're going, they don't have to just throw money at the problem and it's going to go away. They don't just have to just go and try to gobble up as many free agents as they can. They just have to take another moment and reflect on, these teams are aggressive and getting better and always looking for the advantage. And I just don't think the Rockies always do that. I think the Rockies, like we said, super loyal, love what they have, trying to see what they have. And they lean on wacky, dumb excuses of calling themselves small market and blah, 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 and this stuff, when in reality, they're not. The fact of the matter is the Rockies have to be better across the board and everything. And when I know Blake Snell settles for the Giants, I know that's what happened, but it doesn't matter. They still, the Giants now in their rotation have the Cy Young winner from last year, and I believe the runner-up to the Cy Young last year. The Rockies don't even have a starter that's more than third in any rotation in baseball. The Dodgers went and got 2 of the most exciting free agents and spent a boatload of money and are prepared to do that. The Rockies would never even have been in that conversation. And when you're looking at the discrepancies, when you're looking at the gaps, when you're looking at the differences between the NL West, there are a lot of teams that have shown that they are more okay with being aggressive when it comes to snagging up free agents, making changes to their teams, and getting better than the Rockies. The Rockies, yes, are a better team this year than they were last year, but they're still pretty far off. And they're still in a moment where, maybe next year or what happens, because how long is the window open for the Diamondbacks? What do the Padres look like? As the Padres also make one of the biggest moves. I mean, Every team in the NL West, other than the Rockies, made a big move this year. And again, I think that there's important context there. But think about the moves the rest of the NL West made compared to the Rockies. Now, how are the Rockies going to respond to this? Can the Rockies respond to this? When I asked the question on X, can the Rockies ever have the offseason that the Dodgers or the Giants had? All the answers I got were no's. All Rockies fans said no. Evan Lang, nope. Noisy Cricket, not with Dick Monfort, nope. E-Man093 says, closest thing we'll ever get to that was Bridich overspending on Wade Davis. Jamar Baker 77. They got a billionaire owner. So yeah, they could. They choose not to. That's two different things. Wiffle May says, also no. No. No faith. No confidence. No nothing. But again, it's tough. Because the Rockies were never going to be in a position where they were going to make big splashes this free agency. But man, it's frustrating when the NL West is the division that really made a bunch of splashes and got better. Because now for the Rockies, you're really hoping for big steps from your young guys. All right, let's see here. I want to just take a look at one of the arms that the Rockies did get in via the trade this year and brought in to help out that rotation and just see what we're looking at here so far. We'll also take a little bit of a look at maybe some uptick in Chris Bryant, the big game changer that the Rockies signed a couple of years ago. Maybe hoping that he's going to come and have a big season this year. We're going to get to all of that and more coming up on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about some of the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the most fun, best way to play daily fantasy. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the most easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and then watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with NBA, NHL, and college basketball entries today on PrizePicks. Remember, if you're tuning into this in the morning, tip-off is later tonight for the big dance. So America's #1 fantasy sports app, PrizePicks, has you covered. PrizePicks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, the player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays alive. You can see how much fun it is to get all the great stuff at PrizePicks when you download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's all lowercase. Code Locked on MLB for a first deposit match up to $100 on the PrizePicks app. Repeat. Just let me repeat that one more time. Use the code Locked on MLB, all lowercase, in the PrizePicks app for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. This is the Locked on Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked on Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. Shout outs to our everydayers out there. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, making us your first listen of the day. Hey, if you're getting ready for baseball, as I know you are, as you know, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. Baseball fans, mark your calendars for March 20th at 7 p.m. That's tomorrow for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. On March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern, be the first to get local insights from the MLB experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th at 7 p.m. on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. All right, so we are chatting about, we obviously talked about the big news in the NL West, the shadow that continues to grow over the Colorado Rockies. Well, let's talk about the Rockies. Let's talk about what they're doing on the field. Let's talk about Cal Quantrill. Kyle Quantrill here so far in spring, 2.53 ERA over 10.2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, a whip of 1.41. So, interesting stuff that we're going to see here, but I was just looking through some of the numbers and really looking specifically at some of the numbers from last season and 16 innings. I mean, there was some solid strikeout numbers, the batting average below 200 there for Cal Quantrill, giving up only the 2 long balls in that time. So I'm starting to build up a little bit of faith in Cal Quantrill. I'm starting to get a little excited about Cal Quantrill, especially just because I've liked the way he's been talking here and trying to still figure out things for himself. But he's been aggressive this spring training, which has been good to see. I really do think that the Rockies need some good aggression. They need their pitchers to feel confidence in themselves as well, to go out and do some damage against some hitters and feel like they are in control. They feel like they can handle the elements that they're put in. I think that's when having Cal Quantrill stay aggressive is exactly what we're trying to hear from Quantrill here when he as he continues to work through and get in better and ready for the season. Here's a little bit from Thomas Harding. We're going to read a little bit more from Thomas Harding about Chris Bryant in the next segment as well. But here's what he told Quantrill here after, or here's what Quantrill said after his most recent appearance in spring. I still need to work on the splitter to see if I can put some more guys away, but I felt the attack was good, said Quantrill as a 2.53 spring ERA. The contact was pretty weak, and I kept on them. With the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 3rd inning, Quantrill heeded catcher Jacob Stallings' call for a sinker away and worked a grounder from Michael Conforto straight at second baseman Alan Trejo. The Giants' Tom Murphy doubled to open the 5th before Quantrill forced fly balls from Nick Ahmed and Lamonte Wade Jr. to end his day. It's really, really important to see, that's how the Rockies are going to have to respond here, and how he's going to have to handle things when he lets up a leadoff double or something like that. He's going to have to trust the defense, and he's going to have to trust himself that he's going to be able to get out of the jams and out of these issues that he might find himself in. And Harding points on this and talks about this here. Quantrill began his career with the Padres and was a key rotation member with the Guardians before injury slowed him down. The defense features Gold Glove winners Brenton Doyle in center field and Brendan Rodgers at second base, Gold Gloves finalist Ryan McMahon at third, Ezekiel Tovar at shortstop, and Charlie Blackmon in right field, and impact defender Nolan Jones in left. I've been blessed so far in my career, Quantrill said. I've had a pretty freaking fantastic D for the last 5 or 6 years, and this is no different. That's what, that's, I think, another bonus. I think that's got to be such I can't emphasize this enough, how big of a confidence boost and how big of a resource it is for the Rockies to have be good defensively behind their pitchers. It is going to be the reason why the Rockies stay in games. It is going to be the reason why the Rockies can be better at home. It is going to be the reason why Rockies pitchers look better than what they are. When the Rockies can play elite defense and back up elite defense behind their arms, things get better. The Rockies get better. Good defense is critical for the Colorado Rockies. One of the most important things the Rockies can do this year is be as good as they are on paper on defense. Because if they are as good as they are on paper on defense, then that means the pitching staff is going to be better. That means the pitching staff is going to go deeper into games. That means the pitching staff is going to be able to give up less runs. While they might be giving up contact, while they might be not hitting the spots, while balls might be going in play, if this defense plays up to its snuff, they're going to be able to back up and enhance and make pitchers like Cal Quantrill better. It's got to be a work together. It's got to be something where everything is coming together here and helping things out. Bud Black's comments here on Quantrill's last start. He threw a lot of strikes, quality strikes in the zone. Manager Bud Black said, maybe not so much with the split, but the split had good action. Fastball command was sharp, a good breaking ball, and a good slider. So all in all, it was a good outing for Cal. He got some stamina with the 80 pitches. At this point, you're gearing up Velocity, still something I don't see Quantrill as much of a big flamethrower there. But it's when you're looking at the guy that's supposed to come in as the second, you're feeling okay. But again, we look at Cal Quantrill's baseball savant numbers, and you just get a little nervous. The average fastball velocity, 94 miles per hour last year, 88 for the cutter, 87 for the changeup, 82 for the curveball. Last year. Basically, finds himself in the near the poor categories of just about everything with on the baseball savant sliders. Average exit velocity is looking good. But the strikeout percentage way down, the whiff percentage way down, chase percentage not that high. Those are the type of things that are going to be a problem for the Rockies, especially as the barrel percentage is pretty down. Walk percentage not too bad. Hard hit percentage kind of not too looking all right. Ground ball percentage at 40%. So there's stuff there. But is it going to translate? And can he go back to how he was when healthy? I mean, when he was in 2022, 15-5, 3.38 ERA and 186 innings pitched, 128 strikeouts in that point. 2021, 149 innings pitched, 8-3, 2.89 ERA, 1.18 WHIP with 121 strikeouts. So there is strikeout potential. There is inning eating potential. There is lots of good stuff going on, but unfortunately, he's got to react from being in the bottom 5% in a lot of categories. But that's not really anything new for Rockies pitchers because that's where they found themselves all last season as well. Just like we were talking about in the beginning, this is a moment where the pitcher, how is your pitcher-focused manager and your pitching staff and and all of them, how are they helping the situation? How are they going to help Cal Quantrill bounce back when they haven't been able to negate the regression of some of their own guys? That's the big questions you have to ask when you're thinking and talking about a Bud Black extension. What's Bud Black's role? I need to see a bounce back year from Cal Quantrill this year. I need to see Cal Quantrill handle Coors Field. I need to see a lot out of Cal Quantrill because it's not only for Cal Quantrill's sake, but it's also for Bud Black's sake. If Bud Black can't make these players, take step forwards or get back to where they're going, what is the pitch? Where is the pitching strength? Is pitching a strength still for Bud Black in his repertoire? Because I am really, 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 really concerned with downward trends for Rockies pitching over the last few years. And when you look at some of the stuff from Cal Quantrill, especially last year, you're concerned that that trend last year, I know there's injuries involved, is going to happen again because I don't have a ton of faith in the Rockies being able to get him right. The spring has been a different situation, but the spring is a lot different than when July rolls around, a lot different than when August rolls around. And it's a lot different when the starters start coming out and the Rockies got to hit the ground running against some of the best teams in baseball. Okay, so we'll see what happens there. I'm rooting for Cal. I mean, I think that there's definitely some interesting stuff there. I mean, their 4-pitch mix, 100 plus 120 plus strikeouts in 2 out of his 3 seasons. There's interesting stuff for sure. Okay, let's wind down the show with a little bit more from Thomas Harding's coverage here and a little Chris Bryant note as well. We'll do that coming up here in segment number 3. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about our friends at Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date with all things in the world of sports, not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos, and more. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. We are also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's got you covered. And folks, the clock is ticking to get in on all the action here for the big dance. It's coming up later tonight. So you want to make sure that you're seeing all the actions at FanDuel. Maybe you're wanting to bet a little bit more confidently on, I don't know, your Denver Nuggets, maybe your Colorado Avalanche. Maybe you want to place a bet on an MLB future. Maybe you're feeling confident about the Rockies when it comes to over-unders, when it comes to wins. Well, you can say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets. Yes, that's $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, parlays. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast, free and streaming on your favorite streaming service, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. Shout outs to our everydayers. Shout outs to all of y'all in the YouTube comments and hanging out with us there. Hey, Chris Bryant, the power looking pretty good, and it's getting the notice of Thomas Harding. It's getting the notice of the team as well. 437-foot home run. And here's what he had to say about that. It was a 2-2 breaking ball, honestly. I just flipped at it, and it went pretty far, said Bryant, who played right field on Saturday and will also see time at first base and designated hitter. I have a tremendous amount of trust in myself and what I can do. I'm super happy because the ball is being hit in the air. I'm not out in front of the balls where I'm just rolling over to the third baseman. That's more a situation where there's some work that needs to be done. Making outs in the air, deep fly outs, that's what we're trying to do. Drive the ball in the air. If I stay right there, I know more results will come. I like that. I like that philosophy. I like that it's something that can definitely help. Hit that ball in the air. Show us that you still got that drive. Wow, man, they have just added some really cool StatCast stuff to MLB.com. I'm watching a statistical breakdown of the bat angle, the launch angle, all sorts of stuff here. But this stuff matters. I mean, again, when we, as critical as we've been of Chris Bryant, we've also acknowledged the fact that he still has talent. He still has potential. It's just the trends have been really concerning. If he's able to be not only fully healthy, but has also been able to get back and feel confident in his swing and in his power, that's going to be a massive, big upswing for the Rockies, as Chris Bryant is arguably one of the most important pieces of the Rockies offense this year. I mean, but it's got to be this is what the Rockies are hoping for. The slash line from 2015 to 2021. And this is what Harding writes about. And here's why Bryant is trending up entering 24. Manager Bud Black greets any suggestion that could be with the 278, 376, 504 slash line Bryant produced from 2015 to 2021 before injuries limited him to just 122 games in his first seasons in purple pinstripes. He's got to get there. He's got to, if he bats that or close to that, 278, 376, 504, that's going to be huge for the Rockies. It's going to be massive for the Rockies. That's double-digit home runs. That's good RBI. And we still have never been able to see him fully unlock and fully do well with batting at Coors Field. And it's really, like we said, we've seen the Rockies produce some runs. We've seen the Rockies go out and score some runs here this spring. It's going to just be how it translates over. But a successful season for Chris Bryant cannot be understated as something the Rockies desperately need. But I'm loving the confidence to hear from him. I'm liking that he feels ready to go with his body, with where he's at. I'm liking that he still feels like he can tweak the swing a little bit, but he's liking the results that he's seeing and hitting the ball in the air. That'll help, especially at Coors Field. It's going to be better than weak little dribblers on the infield. If Bryant comes in healthy and confident, it's going to be fun to watch. It is going to be fun to watch. I think it's going to add a really good depth to the lineup there. But man, it just like we've been harping on Bud Black, it is definitely a prove it moment for Chris Bryant here, and really in a key situation again, as we talked in the beginning of the show with the Rockies, being overshadowed with big signings and big deals. When the Rockies do make a big signing and a big deal, it hasn't panned out. So man, now is the time for that breakout Chris Bryant season. Well, we'll be tracking it all. We'll be seeing what all happens here, and we'll be letting you know what happens with the Colorado Rockies right here on Locked On Rockies. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us and making us your first listen of the day. Locked On MLB's got you covered for your second listen. Or if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avs, Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Buffs. Got you covered on your favorite streaming services as well. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.